Hello, Janey. We're in your kitchen today, the Fresh and Live Mama Passion Special. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. And you're going to share with a recipe with us today for Christmas time, is that right?
Yeah, well, I mean, you can have it at absolutely any time of the year,
Good.
actually. But I'm also going to tell you about my fantastic new toy.
Oh, yes. Tell us about your toy.
Yeah. Well, my machine is, the thing is, I've only just started really getting into raw food properly. If it is properly, I don't know. I'm not 100% raw, but in recent months I've become increasingly passionate about both juicing and trying to go a bit more raw. And I'm just delighted with the kind of recipes and stuff that you can do, particularly for the kids. I've got 4 kids and I just love drumming up desserts that I'm not nagging them that they can't eat, you know, so biscuits and cookies and all of that. And that's just become just an absolute joy to do that, really. So I reached the stage where I knew that I needed to buy a high-speed blender and also a food processor. And of course I was kind of weighing up the cost, and do I get a Vitamix or a Blendtec, and what kind of food processor and all of this, and I was kind of stressing out over which ones to buy. And then I got introduced to this machine called a Thermomix, which is a German machine, and as you can see it's just kind of a monolith of a thing with one bowl and one blade. That's it. You don't do any other faffing about. And I'm not on commission, by the way, for this, although I probably should be.
I think you should.
I desperately want to run to the hills and shout, oh my God, everyone has to have one of these. They're not cheap, I can't tell you, pretend they are. But what you've got to remember is you save the cost of a high-speed blender, you know, and a food processor. So if you're lucky enough to be at the stage I was at, where you're going to be buying both anyway, this does everything, and I mean everything.
And that's it, you've used it.
Roasting.
Yeah.
I use it
You use it in your kitchen every day.
I use it in the kitchen. I use it 3 times a day, at least, because it does absolutely everything you could wish for, apart from roasting, which, if you're a raw foodie, will not be a problem for you.
No.
But it literally does everything. It will weigh your food, it will grind it, it will do anything to a fine powder. It will obviously blend really brilliantly, absolutely everything. It will chop, it will mince, it will hold temperatures at sort of 37 degrees. You know, people sometimes want to do chocolate. It will cook if you want it to cook. It will do soups. You can do an amazing soup, cooked soup, in 15 minutes. Obviously you can do raw soups, fantastic as well. It's just the most incredible thing. The only thing it doesn't do is roast or bake. So, so I'm in love with my little machine.
Oh, I think I'm falling for it.
Grind on. So anyway, the recipe I'm going to do for you is just, I mean, it's so simple, it's ridiculous actually. And you don't really need a fantastic machine for it either. You can do it with, this recipe you can do with the minimum of equipment. All you need is a little grinder, a little coffee grinder to grind up the almonds, and a bowl and a wooden spoon.
That's very nice, simple recipe then.
Really simple. And I call it nutty balls.
Nutty balls.
And the only reason it's a little bit Christmassy is because they're cinnamon nutty balls. So that makes it, I always think cinnamon.
Yeah, cinnamon smells like Christmas.
So I don't have a very exact science. I'm just going to bung in a load of, these are organic almonds, bunged into the blender.
So that's exactly how I do it.
Yeah, I know, it's not very terribly technical. I think it's actually, I said in the recipe in Imperfectly Natural Woman, where I wrote this recipe, I think I probably said 4 ounces.
Right.
But
See, that means nothing to me.
It means nothing to me either. I prefer to work in cups, don't you?
Yeah, cups or just handfuls.
Yeah, exactly. Pop the lid on here, and I'm just going to do a really rough grind on them because I'm going to add the other ingredients. So. Told you it was really
loud.
Very loud, yeah. But it doesn't last long. Do it a little bit longer because on ground slightly more than that. This will do it to a fine powder in seconds. There you go.
And of course the children get used to that sound once you start using it daily.
It's not on for long,
exactly,
is it? Really? First time I used it, my 4-year-old was slightly freaked. What? Okay, so now we've got pretty much a kind of fine powder really. So I'm going to add to that a tiny bit of water. This is filtered water. It's actually distilled water. My other new toy. A little bit of water, and then a tiny bit of vanilla essence. If you don't already know, Steenberg's do the most amazing organic fair trade vanilla essence. I should say I'm not on commission for anything, otherwise you won't believe me.
Yeah.
So that's
but you use it because you use it and you like it and sharing it.
Now you can use in this recipe, you can use either Manuka honey, which is really fantastic and very healing and antibacterial and all the rest of it. But obviously if you're vegan you won't want to use that, in which case you can just use agave syrup. So I'll probably use agave syrup. And you just, again, just Allegedly it's 2 tablespoons, but isn't it easier just to squirt?
Squirt.
And then I'm just going to whisk it all up again. But as I say, obviously you can easily just do this in a bowl. It's, you know, I'm just being a little bit idle really. I think I might need very slightly more water. It's all guesswork. And I'm probably taking longer than I need to, just because I'm talking at the same time. So whiz it all up again.
I like the way you can control the speed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very smoothly.
I need a little spatula thingy, excuse me. We've got one of those spatula thingies like you've got with the...
Oh, does that come with it then? Is that part of the equipment?
Yeah, you can also, if you're into cooking, you can also steam with it. Steam your veg, steam your rice. Yeah. Anything actually.
Well, I often like to have steamed veggies with like a nice raw sauce on, so it's like a bit of half and half. Does it taste good?
Great.
I'm looking forward to tasting them in a minute.
I'm going to put a bit more sweetness in them just because, I mean, that kind of...
And I think in that sort of the whole raw food sort of movement world, whatever you want to call it, it's all about personal preference as well. It's not about a group of people having exactly the same thing and doing the same thing. It's about, you know, looking into, you know, there are still advances to be made and things to be found out.
Himalayan salt, by the way. A very handy little shape.
Yeah, great.
I just added a very, very tiny amount. It sometimes just kind of helps bring out the flavours of things. I'm a big fan of Himalayan salt. I love it. I mean, really, you can have these ground as finely or as coarse as you like, you know? There's no exact science. I call them my handmade chocolates. I think that would be very nice.